All right, it's the 8th of July. We've got about just under 30 minutes to the NY Open. Go to the charts in a second. Yeah, just a second. All right, I hope sound is good. Okay, let's start with the calendar. Um, no news today, just like yesterday. There's nothing. There's nothing happening this week in terms of financial data, any news. There's nothing. So we should have a regular trading, clean trading week. Right, let's look at the weekly time frame. Now, I said this yesterday as well, and even I think on Thursday, Friday last week as well. This is a decision level. That's why we had this green rectangle marked here for, in fact, about 3 weeks now. And I said price is going to be pushing up from here, and that's exactly what's happening. We created weekly support. We closed last week, closed a bullish candle, a strong candle, strong bullish candle from this green area that we were looking at for the last 3 weeks. And then I said price could come back. I said this yesterday in the analysis. If you watched the first 5 minutes of the analysis, I said the price could pull back to a liquidity level and then push up. And that's exactly what happened. And now price is pushing up. If you go to the daily, that's exactly what happened on the daily. Price came to a liquidity to a level. Sorry, this one here came to 3,300 and pushed up. We did take a trade from here. I got out at around 4 RR. But the trade ran a lot more. Okay, so I'm anticipating price to continue up towards 3367 again, right, and higher, probably even 3400, right? Price to continue about 750 pips higher. Let's go to our trading chart. Before we draw zones for today, let's do a quick recap of yesterday's trade. This trade was taken live during the live streams. Everything was explained. So 30-minute. Sorry, what happened there? Is the sound okay? I hope I didn't get disconnected. Okay. I'm just going to run through all of this because this is just a repetition, a recap of what we did yesterday. Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. So the reason for taking this trade was all given out many times yesterday. Why I was looking for buys. Price came to a liquidity level, a liquidity candle plus 3,300, which is also a liquidity level. We rejected that area. We created a liquidity wick from the liquidity candle and from 3,300. Price formed support there above the London low. That was the London low. Then again, it tried to come back. It didn't. It tapped 3,300. And the next candle formed support again and broke the previous candle high. So I drew the fib and took entry around here. Stop loss are about 24, 25 pips. And I got out somewhere here. That was about 130. And price ran through the liquidity candle further up another 300 pips, right? Should have held, but I got out at about 130. That was about a 4 RR trade there. This is all taken during the live stream. You can watch the last 10 minutes of the stream when the trade was active. Okay, let's get rid of all of this. Okay. All right, let's start with our zones. Now, we had a drop basing candles. All of those are all basing candles, and a drop here, and price has come deep into it and created another um, has created another supply zone here on the 4, right? So this was the source. That was, if you look on the 1 hour time frame, I think it's clear. Let's quickly do that here. I did all of this yesterday, but let's do it again. No, I think on the 30-minute maybe. This was this was, around there, right? On the 30-minute, roughly about there. That was the drop base, a drop base and a drop with those wicks. Price came, tapped that area, dropped down. Now it's come second time. I think if it comes a third time, we're going to go through this, go through the 3,350 and all the way to 3,367 up here, and then even further to 3,400, right? Um, okay, so that's the source. That's a reaction. 4-hour supply was formed as a result of that. So this is the first reaction. And then 4-hour supply was formed again. It's formed again here, a rally, 3 basin candles and a drop. Let me zoom in. Rally, 3 basin candles and a drop as a second reaction to this, right? So that's the first reaction. That's 4-hour supply. Rally, 3 basin candles and a drop. And then a rally, 3 basin candles again and a drop. Okay, so now we can bring that here, can bring our supply there, right? The liquidity candle, let's leave that for now. We've come 150 pips into it. It's about a 200, roughly about a 200 pip liquidity candle. We've come actually more. Yeah, we've got, but we'll keep it. We haven't broken the liquidity candle, so we're going to extend that to the right. What's this open? 201. Okay. All right. Now here we have a drop, a base, and a rally here that has taken out this high here. We've taken out this supply by this push up. That's a demand level right there. Let's mark that as well. Six seven six. Yeah, 676. And this low is 650. So this is the source. This is a reaction to that, right? And this is on the 1 hour. We're going to bring that down so we don't overlap it. Push that here. 650. Okay, so we've covered about, yeah, let's move this also just in case. Right, now we have a new 4-hour demand zone here. Gonna keep that label there. And readjusted 4-hour supply. It's still a high liquidity zone. It's a fairly large zone. 230 pips. Yeah. And we've covered, yeah, I think we should, Maybe extend this to the right as well. These are all supply levels. If you watch the first 15 minutes of any stream, you'll see how I draw supply demand zones, right? That's all. If that's all you want to take out of these streams, then you can just watch the first 15 minutes of any stream, and that's how I draw supply demand zones. Um, yeah, that's good enough. 500 pips for the upside. That's good enough. It's a liquidity candle there. That's why that's marked there. Extend this as well. Okay, done. Okay, so we have a new demand level here, readjusted supply zone here, right? There hasn't been a big move. Price pushed up yesterday and it has corrected more than half of the move, or less, about half of the move. Pushed up from here, let's say 450 pips, and we've come down about 250, yeah, just over half of the move, right? We could push down further to a liquidity candle here before we continue to go up. We'll have to see. All right, so we have this new zone here. That's the only new zone that we have, a new demand zone. Let's see if that is a high liquidity zone or not, right? Let's go to the 1 hour time frame for that. So has price taken out? Yes, it has. There's a rally, a base, and a drop here. This is a supply level. That's the top of the supply zone. This move up. That wick has taken out this high. So this is a high liquidity zone. Okay. Okay, now let's see if we have a high liquidity candle in here. On the 4 hour, we have a liquidity grab, a liquidity wick. Let's start with that. I always say if you see a liquidity wick, if you see a liquidity grab, a huge wick, basically, that's what's called a liquidity wick. If there's a massive wick from a liquidity level, not anywhere on the chart, but from a liquidity level, that's a liquidity wick, right? Because it's grab liquidity from a liquidity level. 650. Let's just. Okay, let's take a look at the 1 hour time frame. On the 1 hour, let's just look left. This is the largest candle, 121 pips. Smaller, smaller. That one right there. Let's take a look at the 30-minute time frame. $94, 106. Let's take a look at the 15. 88. Let's bring this line here for a second. Just want to see what's left of that 30-minute. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I'm going to keep it on the 30-minute. Let's keep it on the 30-minute. Yeah. So keep the liquidity candle on the 30-minute. 269215. 269215. Perfect. Done. Right? Now, price could come here, tap this to push up. Yeah, it covers the 1 hour as well. Those highs. Yeah, on that low there. Done. Okay, let's take a look at this area once more. This liquidity candle, I think, was drawn on the one minute time frame. Think on based on the 1 minute. I still have about 11 minutes for, yeah, about 10 minutes for the NY Open. Um, let's take a look at this liquidity candle once more. This is the 5 minute. Yeah, and it's drawn on the 1 minute. Yeah, 1 minute. That's the NFP candle, the last Thursday. That has a lot of liquidity in it, and that's the 200 pip liquidity candle. You can see there's a lot of liquidity in that candle. That is why price came up several times. Came up once, pushed down, twice, pushed down. 3 times you could say pushed down, 4th time pushed down, 5th time pushed down, 6th time pushed down, a 7th time pushed down. So 7 times on the 30-minute time frame we've come to that candle. So we could come back, if we come in the 8th time there, we could be pushing through that to here, right? And there isn't much liquidity in this candle. You can see prices tap the one above. Whenever, I've always said this, whenever there are liquidity candles stacked up one against another, one on top of the other, one below the other, price as it means prices tap them on the way down. So which means the liquidity in that candle is less. So if price goes through this, it's very likely going to go through this and through this. And we're going to be heading towards 3,400, and that aligns perfectly with what I've been saying on the higher time frame. Price could push up all the way there. That's about a 750 pip move up. Okay. For now, we're pushing down. Yeah, for now we're pushing down. Let's see how far we come. If are we coming to around this area maybe before we begin to push up again. Right now, there's nothing to do. Price is right in the middle of supply and demand, right? If you look at the 4-hour time frame, we're not ranging, we're moving down for sure. We're moving down. We created a second supply, as a second retest on the 4-hour. This is the first supply, 4-hour supply. This is the first reaction and 4-hour supply. This is the second reaction and second 4-hour supply. So we're pushing down for sure. But where are we coming down to? Where are we going to grab liquidity to head back up? Is it going to be at the liquidity candle? Is it going to be further down at 3,300? Is it going to come down further to this liquidity candle right here and push back up from there? We'll have to see. We'll have to wait for 30-minute candle confirmations at these levels. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at what price has done in the Asian and London sessions. 50-minute time frame, that's the market open right there with the gap. So the market opened at 33.39, right? Roughly 33.39, that's the market open. Now we were very bullish. We're bullish straight off the bat. Starting NY open, we were bullish. Right from NY open, we were bullish, right? In fact, sorry, pre-NY, starting from pre-NY, we were bullish, and we just continued that bullish trend all day, right? Pre-NY to the end of the trading day, right? Doesn't always happen. It's rare because in the if you look at the US session, inside the US session, you get the pre-NY, you get the that is an hour before the NY open, then you get the NY open at 8 a.m. EST. So 7 a.m. EST is pre-NY, 8 a.m. EST is the NY open. 9:30 a.m. EST is the NYSE open, or the New York Stock Exchange open, and then the second half of NY session starts at around 11:12, and that's sorry, after NYC open is the London close, which is around 12 noon, and then after 12 noon is the second half of the NY session around 12:31, right? 1 p.m. That's in the second half of the 12:31 p.m. EST. Let's say 12:30 p.m. EST is when the second half of the NY session starts. So in all those sessions, was bullish. There was no pullbacks. Price didn't pull back for liquidity or anything, just pushed straight up, right? So if you take that move up, that's where the day ended, 430 pip move up, right? There was a lot of bullish volume. Now let's see, are we going to retrace this entire move down? Are we going to come to liquidity, grab liquidity, create 30-minute support, and start to push back up? Um, this is where the market opened. This is the open. Um, yeah, this would be the Asian high. Yeah. Okay. Let's draw these lines. Hmm. Not a lot of movement today. Not a lot. We've moved about 250 pips already, just 250, not much. The average daily, last 3 days average daily range is about 400 pips a day, roughly 400, 410 pips a day. So we've just moved about 250, a little over half of that. So there isn't in the London session we've moved quite a bit, yeah. But in the Asian session, nothing much, just ranged. Pushed down, we pushed up here. Yeah, this is the Asian high. Okay, 807. 970. 4. Okay, right. Let's take, we still have about 2 minutes to the NY Open, and we're going to wait for the first 15-minute candle to close before we do anything. So the market was, as I said previously, the market was bullish all of NY session right until the end of the trading day. Sorry, just a second. Yeah, we were bullish. Then the market opened. It opened in the liquidity candle, created 30-minute resistance, and pushed down uh, to the edge of the liquidity candle, almost towards the EMAs. Then we swung back up. We created the Asian low with a swing low. Then we swung up, created an Asian high there, back inside the liquidity candle, came back. It's just ranged basically. There isn't much happened in the Asian session. Just pushed down. We're in the liquidity candle, ranging all of this. All of this from here to here, we're just ranging. So one big block of just ranging, right? Just moving up and down. And then we came back down, tapped the Asian low, closed at it, closed back above, continued back to the Asian high, broke the Asian high, but rejected the Asian high, and 30-minute resistance formed, clear 30-minute resistance, and closed below the Asian high. Pushed straight down to the EMAs and the Asian low, closed below the Asian low, and we're coming down, and we came down, created the London low, pushed back up to the EMAs, closed below, and now we're trying to stay below the London low. We're trying to stay below the London. If we continue to stay below the London low, yeah, it's dojis. There's nothing much happening, in fact. There isn't a liquidity candle either here. Let's see if there is. Ooh, tough. Yeah, there isn't a liquidity candle. Yeah, I wouldn't take a trade. I wouldn't take a buy here. It's not worth it. Just 40 pips above that is supply, 4-hour supply. Fresh 4-hour, new supply. Not fresh, but a new supply zone has formed here. It's not fresh because this is the second supply zone in this supply. That's the source right there, and this is the first, and that's the second. So it's not fresh, but 4-hour supply has just formed. There's a bearish 4-hour strong bearish candle. High time frame is closing against you if you're trying to take buys. So it's best to wait, right? It's best to wait. What could happen is, here's what could happen. If price taps the EMAs and a 30-minute candle starts to close below, if it taps the EMAs, I would like to see price tap the EMAs, right? One second, let's see if we have, yeah, we don't need to come back to the liquidity candle because it has come there in the London session. It doesn't need to come back up there, but it could tap the EMAs. So if price taps the EMAs or even the liquidity candle and a 30-minute candle closes below the London low, I would look to take sells to come down here. I would look to take sells to come down here. The better trade would be the buys going up from a liquidity candle or a liquidity level. That would be the better trade, to take buys to go up. But if we tap here, since we're in the middle of supply and demand, and since the 4-hour time frame, high time frame is pushing down, we've created a strong bearish candle here. We could be pushing down all the way here, which is about 125, 130 pip move. And we can take that move if 30-minute candle closes below the London low. Right, that's the London low. Yeah, 12. What's this swing? This swing is 52 pips. Yeah, to the Asian low. Yeah, that is the London low. Not this. That's a London low right there, the one I've marked. So if a 30-minute candle closes below this, we could look to take that trade to come down about 100 pips to 130 pips, push down back to the liquidity candle. You'll have to be very conservative with your TP levels coming down because it's coming into demand, and B, the weekly and the daily is trying to push up, right? The daily is trying to push up. You can see that clear rejection and push up, and the weekly is trying to push up as well. So because of the weekly and the daily trying to push up, you want to be conservative with your session trading TPs. Okay. All right. So waiting for the candle to close, a long time, 26 minutes for the candle to close. I'm not going to do anything until the candle closes. 26 minutes. That's a long time, right? So we're going to wait for that. We're going to wait for the candle to close. Any questions? Any questions on anything that I've shared? You can always post a question in the chat, and I'll answer. Right? Yeah. So that's the analysis. Any questions on the analysis? Anything's unclear? You can always post a message in the chat. right? I've explained what I'm waiting for. To take sells, I would like to see um, price tap the EMAs. We just did. We just tapped the EMAs. Yeah, just tapped it. What's that? Look at the 1 minute. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. 4 point. Okay. Can consider that a tap. Let's see. It should tap it. Maybe in the next minute it'll tap it. Yeah. It's just hovering at it. It's like 5 points or something. 27.79. The high is 27. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Tapped it. Tap the EMA. Right. Now let's see. Let's see if 30-minute resistance is going to form. Price is going to push down. Right. Now you got to keep in mind 4 hours are bearish. 1 hour is bearish. Right. So even though the weekly and the daily is pushing up, as a session trader, you got to be fluid to know that there might be a lower time frame sell trade, right? That'll that'll be used to grab liquidity to continue the high time frame move. So as a session trader, you got to be willing to take any direction, the sells or the buys. If you're a swing trader, then you can wait only for the buys, wait for price to come to a level that a liquidity level, create some sort of confirmation, and take the trade in the direction of the weekly and the daily. That's if you're a swing trader. But if you're trading the session, the first 2 hours or the first 3 hours of a session, then you should be okay to take either buys or sells, right? So now we've tapped the EMAs, they're coming back here. We're creating, got to keep in mind candle structure as well, the market structure. You got to keep in mind market structure. We created a higher high. Then let's look at the 30-minute. 30-minute will be much more clearer. We created a higher high here, and then we created a lower low here, right? A lower high, right? A lower high, yeah, a lower high, a lower high, a higher low here. So this would be, yeah, this is, I didn't break this, so it's not a lower low. And then a lower high here, and a lower low, and then a higher high here again, but a lower low. So we're continuously creating lower lows, right? One, two new lower lows have formed, so price could come back, create a lower high, and continue down. That's a trade I'd want to take. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not buying. I explained why I'm not buying, because we got a liquidity candle right here and got a supply zone right here. So where am I going to buy into? That makes no sense. You got to wait for price to. I'm looking for sells to come down. If I'm buying, I want to buy here. Down here is where I want to buy. This area here is where here or even here is where I want to sell. All right, still got about 22 minutes for the candle to close. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to leave this like this. Okay, be back in a few minutes. Okay. Waiting for the candle, 30-minute candle to close. Just waiting. Okay, we still have about 11, almost 12 minutes for the candle to close. Price is still pushing up. Waiting for 30-minute candle to close. Form support here, but the reason I don't like this support, the reason I don't like the support that's formed here, and the only reason I mean I'm even looking at this support is because there's a London low here, right? If the London low was not here, I wouldn't care for this support or resistance at all. But the reason I don't like this support is because it's right in the middle of supply and demand. It's bang in the middle, right? You got a supply zone 80 pips above, you got a demand zone about 70, 80 pips below. So it's right in the middle. So I don't like it. I want this to form down here to push up, or for this to form up here to form resistance up here to push down, but not in the middle of the two zones. Um, we tap the EMA, and yeah, let's see if we can push down. Yeah, we're rejecting right now. Let's see if we can close bearish. Touch, close bearish, another 9 minutes, and then we'd have to wait for the next candle to close as well. It's a lot of waiting to do. Yeah, this is non-news week, so 30-minute time frame is better. Just to wait, wait. It's a lot of, you got to have a lot of patience to sit on your hands. But like yesterday, it was worth it, right? Just waited um, for this 30-minute candle to close to break the high, and it did. And then the pullback and got a trade to go up, and it just ran. The entry was right here, right at the low of that candle. That was the entry. It was about a 23, 24. If you were here on the streams yesterday, you would have seen it, 23, 24 pip stop loss. And I got out at about 120, 130 pips, but price just ran after that. 370 pips just continued to push up. Mm. Yeah, there's a lot of waiting to do. I'm going to be waiting for this candle to close, and I'm also going to very likely wait for the next candle to close. because here's the idea. Price has touched the EMAs, we're pushing down. If the next 30-minute candle breaks the low and closes below, I'm going to draw the fib and wait to take a trade, right? Wait for a pullback to take a trade. So which means I'll wait for this 30-minute candle to close and then wait for the next 30-minute candle to close, because the next one, for price to push down, the next one has to break the low. But the problem is, if you break the low, the next one could come all the way down here. 100 pips could just drop straight down, and then you just don't get a trade, because it needs to the next candle needs to close below, has to break the low and close somewhere here, so that we get a pullback and a move to come down here, that 120 pip move down, right? But if the next candle breaks this low and continues down without a pullback, before the candle closes, if the next candle goes down, if it breaks the low and continues down all the way down, then there is no sell trade. It has to close somewhere here, so that the candle after that is my trading candle, the one that I can take there. It's not the next one, the one after that. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, this one is doing exactly what I expected it to do. It tapped the EMAs and it's rejecting, and yeah. Yeah, market is slow. There is nothing happening. 30-minute candle is about to close. The next one should break the low. Let's see. Let's see. If it breaks the high, then we have to wait. We have to wait even longer. Because if it breaks the high, we're coming into the liquidity candle, then we have to wait for the next one to break the low. After that, to take the sells. Yeah, it's a lot of waiting to do today. A lot of waiting to do. It's I said this. It's a slow week. It's a very slow week. Next week should be a roller coaster. Right. Next week. CPI, PPI, retail sales. Um, yeah. There are six main events that I look at. Two are outside of the hours I trade. Two of them outside. But the biggest one is NFP, obviously, and this is for gold, right? For gold versus the US dollar. NFP. The next is CPI, and then you get the interest rate decision, which is outside of the NY open hours. It's the second half of the NY session. And then the FOMC meeting minutes 30, the press conference, sorry, the FOMC, the press conference 30 minutes after the interest rate decision. So that's the fourth one. And then the fifth is PPI, and the sixth is retail sales, right? So these are the main six that I watch for. Four of those are inside the NY open hours, right? NY trading hours, and two of them are outside. Outside as in it's in the second half. But those are the main six. Everything else is just noise. It's not important. None of the other events are important. And even retail, even PPI and retail sales are lower down the pecking order. They're not really important. They don't do a lot prior to price. The main three or the main four that move price is NFP, CPI, could possibly move price. Yeah, I've seen days where NFP and CPI has done nothing. So could possibly the main four events that could possibly move price for the month, every month, is NFP, CPI, interest rate decision, and the press conference 30 minutes after interest rate decision. Those are the main four. Outside of these four, the others don't really do much. Right, it looks like we're going to break the high. Right, it looks like we're going to break the high. I am not taking buys here, so here's I would have drawn the fib, but I'm not taking buys here even if price comes down. I'm not taking buys here if it comes even down here. I'm not taking because there's a supply zone right here. So I'm not interested in buys to go up from here. From down here, yes, I'll definitely be interested in buys, but not from here. Because we're almost at supply, right? If I take buys from here on a pullback here, we should pull back and break this candle low. If you take buys there, it's just 50 pips away is a supply zone. Doesn't make sense. So we're going to wait. So gotta wait for this 30-minute candle to close, which is another 27 minutes from now. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Yeah, and then if that candle doesn't do anything, then I'm going to end the stream. Because we might not get a trade right now. There might be a trade later on. For sure, there'll be a trade today, but for sure, 100% there'll be a trade today, but it'll be later on, right? It'll be later on, maybe with the 4-hour candle close, could be one, and then the other opportunity could be towards the London close, right? 4-hour candle close, London close. 4-hour candle close is in an hour and a half from now, and the London close is around 12 noon EST. Okay, we're going to break the high. Yeah, which means we're going to come to the liquidity candle. If we break the high, we're going to touch the liquidity candle. And we're going to come, very likely, we're going to come in here. This candle has no top wick. Interesting. it's a 80 pip move up. Yeah, still not. I'm not interested in buys here because this is supply. You could come up here. Could come up here, right here. This candle has no top wick. Let's see. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. Yeah, it's just slow. Market's not doing anything. I'm going to be here for another 10 minutes. There's going to be a trade later on, very likely. Well, I'll take that trade. If we close bearish, right? I've been saying this now since we did the analysis. If you close bearish below the London low, then we're coming down. We're coming here. We're coming here to this level here, probably lower. The trade I really want to take are the buys, right? But as a session trader, you got to look at what the market is telling you on the time frame that you trade. To me, it's a 30-minute time frame. That's the time frame I like to trade on. I look for 30-minute support resistance to take a trade. But the trade I want to take is this high time frame trade here. Price to push up back to 3367 and then to 3400. That's the trade that I want to take. And the further down we come and we get that trade, the better. Yeah, we're very likely pushing up. We're coming up here. Yeah, coming up here. This was a. Did we touch? No, we didn't. I'm not doing anything inside this here. I'm not doing anything here. Sells up here. Maybe if he if he sells up here, that would be best. But if he close here below, 30-minute candle closes below, forming resistance, and we close below the London low, then yes, possible sells to come down. That's possible. But we've broken the high already. Candle has got about 9 minutes for the candle to close. It looks like we're continuing higher. Yeah, 5 minutes. Pushing up. We should come up here. Mm. if you do come here or here, look to take a sell to come down. Gotta wait for the 15-minute candle closes up here, 30-minute candle close up here in this area. Yeah, yeah, it's very slow. Nothing's happening. Yesterday there was a move, but after that, nothing. Yeah. All right, that's the end of the stream. There's nothing happening. The market's just not doing anything right now. We had some movement yesterday. NY open, but NY open today, nothing. Uh, Here's what I'm going to do. If price comes up here to this area right here, right? This area right here and this area right here, and we get a reaction of the 15-minute time frame or 30-minute resistance forms, I might look to take a trade to come down here, right? If price comes further up and reacts 30-minute resistance forms, I'll look to take a trade because that's the area I want to sell in. For buys, I want to buy down here. But also if a 30-minute candle closes below the London low, then I'm looking to take a sell to come down here, right? Those are the ideas. Sells up here, from here if 30-minute resistance forms, sells from here if a 30-minute candle closes below the London low, which is this line right here. That's the London low, 33.24.47 or 33.24.50 is the London low. If you close below that, sells to come down about 120 pips, come down here, yeah, around this area, this resistance right here, or even here, yeah, that's better. Around 33.10, 33.10, right? 33.10. If you coming down, 33.10. Let's put a line there, 33.10. Yeah, 33.10. Come to around 33.10. If it closes below, 30-minute candle needs to close below the London low. And then buys obviously from down here. If 30-minute support forms, buys to go back up. That'll be the high time frame trend trade. In the high time frame direction, which means the weekly and the daily is pushing up. Weekly, that's the weekly, and that's the daily. We're trying to push up. So that trade from down here or from here is the trade that um, syncs perfectly with the high time frame. So those are the buys to look for, and those TP levels you can hold up to 3,350, 3,367, and even 3,400, right? But sells from up here, this area, or if a 30-minute candle closes below the London low to push down, right? So 30-minute candle is closing a doji again. There's nothing happening. The next one should break the high and continue higher. The next one should break the high. This candle is closing a bullish doji. The next one should break the high and continue higher. All right. Okay, that's the end of the stream. We didn't take a stream. We didn't take a trade in the stream. I mean, during the stream today because there's just no volume and no setup to take a trade. Well, I'm not going to force trades. Um, but if price is coming down, that's the area that I want to get out. I want to take TPs at 3310, 3312, 3312, 3310, that area, right? If we come down. But now I think what's going to happen is price is going to probably break the low, come further down, and then continue to push up. Okay. All right. So I'll be back here tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. EST. We'll do our analysis and see if there is a setup for the first 2 hours of the NY session. Today, there wasn't one. Um, there wasn't one for the NY Open, but there will be a trade today, NYSC Open. I think around NYSC. So you just got to wait. You've got about 1 hour. Yeah, it's best to wait for the 1 hour, just to wait for the 4 hour candle to close. Just wait. Wait. Just don't do anything right now. Just wait patiently, just an hour more for the candle to close. Wait for the candle to close. I'll probably come back to the chart in about 45 minutes to about an hour. Come back to the chart and have a look at what's happening. But wait for the 4 hour candle to close. Possibly going to get some volume once the 4 hour candle closes, right? And then maybe even a trade after that around the London close. You might get a trade around the London close, which is around 11:30 or 12 noon EST. All right. So see you guys tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. EST. Don't overtrade. Don't over risk. Take care.